Welcome to another episode of Beyond Four Walls, the podcast that goes beyond the boundaries of property management. In each episode, I explore the stories, insights, and experiences of professionals in the industry, shedding light on the triumphs, challenges, and opportunities within this very dynamic sector. And today I have the privilege of interviewing Emily Gray, the Operations Director for Burns Hamilton, a leading property management firm based in Dorset, serving clients in Dorset, Hampshire and Wiltshire. And with over 17 years of experience in property management, Emily has established herself as a dedicated professional committed to delivering exceptional standards of service to customers and creating the well-being of her team. And not only is Emily a respected figure in the field, she is also actively involved in industry organisations. As a fellow of the Property Institute, she contributes her expertise to the Institute's Wellbeing Working Group. And Emily also serves as an Honorary Consultant for the Federation of Private Residence Associations and proudly represents the South Coast as an ambassador for Doyenne, an organisation celebrating women in leasehold. Among her many accomplishments, Emily's standout moment was winning the prestigious Property Woman of the Year award at the inaugural ARMA Awards in 2017, and this recognition speaks volumes about her dedication and expertise in the field. But I won't say any more because I'm babbling a little bit now, and I'd like to welcome Emily to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Jodie. That was a lovely introduction. Makes me feel quite flushed thinking of it.
Oh, bless you. Well, you deserve it. You are, you're a total inspiration to me. So thank you for being here. Can you share a little bit about your journey into the property management industry and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, of course. So I was one of those who's never set on a career in property management. I left school and I grew up in northeast Scotland. So when I left school, there were three options. You go to the fish factory across the road, you go on the oil rigs, or you go to university. So I thought, right, I'll go to university. And at the time I was quite good at languages. So I went to university, did French and German. Left after 2 years because there were French and German people in my class learning French and German, which frustrated me a little bit. So I thought, no, I'm going to go into the world of work. And I started temping up in Edinburgh, a few odd jobs. I dressed up as an ostrich and handed mini eggs out around Scottish widows for a little bit.
Very good.
That was fun. But was a office manager in a structural engineers. Then I met my now ex-husband. He was based in Bournemouth. So I came down to Bournemouth, temped down here, and I found a role as a maternity cover for PA to the director of a property management firm. So I did that, and the bug bit me, and I found what I loved. And so after a year, the maternity contract was coming to an end, but one of the property managers was leaving, and I kind of said I'd quite like to have a go at being a property manager. Thankfully, I got the support to do that, and I thought, on my first block, it'll be like a couple of small blocks to cut my teeth on. No, it was the biggest block the company had, 132 flats on the Bournemouth West Cliff. Every problem under the sun that could have gone wrong did go wrong, and we had lots of things to learn about. They weren't just a resident management company, they were a friendly society, so totally different setup. And at the time, that was really daunting. But looking back, I think that's really been key to my development in having the access to all of those experiences from an early stage. And basically, I worked my way up from there. So I came into the sector with no property qualifications, nothing. And I did my route through the IRPM, which is now TPI individual member, to do their associate qualification, their member qualification. From my member qualification, I got my associate RICS, and then I applied to become a fellow of the IRPM, now TPI, and was thankfully accepted. Got in links with the Federation of Private Residence Stations, as you said, and with Doyenne, and I've just definitely found home. I absolutely love this industry. It's a challenging one, but it's a really, really great one to be involved with, and I'm in the privileged position to absolutely love my job.
That's brilliant, because there's been so many challenges, quite highly documented in the press and in our own industry about, certainly since Grenfell, there's been a lot of challenges and a lot of changes throughout your career, I guess. So what do you think has been the most significant challenge you faced?
Really difficult one, because there's exactly like you say, there's been so many. I think the significant change that I've seen is when I started, we would never really have dreamed of calling a leaseholder a customer. Now that just seems second nature, that leaseholder, client, tenant, you're all customers in the properties that we live in. And that has been a real flip change over the last 10 years that I've seen, and is really starting to hit home now in the real customer service that we deliver. I think the ongoing challenge with that is the ongoing negative perception of what we do. The media put it out there that we're all there to simply take people's money and deliver a really poor service. We all get kind of tarred with the same brush, that one agent is bad, therefore all are bad. And that can be a really difficult attitude to contend with and to face. And it does sometimes make the grass look greener elsewhere. Although I think when you dig into that, it's not always greener. Really happy to say that at Burns Hamilton, we've had people unfortunately leave us, but they've come back, which is really nice to see, that kind of gone to taste the grass somewhere else and found that maybe it's not quite what they wanted, and come back into property management, which is really nice.
Yeah, because I think the problems are there, whatever industry you work in. You're never going to have the perfect job. You're never going to have, there's always, especially when you say about customers, there's always going to be those challenges somewhere along the lines. But I think the support, and obviously with you working on the Wellbeing, with the Wellbeing group with TPI, knowing that the support that people need and implementing that into your company with your team members, how do you keep your team members feeling like they're supported during difficult challenges, but also, as you say, keeping them, like you say, you really love this industry and you want this industry to be perceived as really positive. How do you put that into your team?
It's a difficult one, but for me, I kind of try and really bring a positive attitude every day, that I think that the team will know. I walk in the office, say hi, everybody knows that I'm here, and kind of try and get that enthusiasm to just rub off a little bit. I'm very open with the team. I will talk about challenges that I've faced, struggles that I've faced, mistakes that I've made, so that it's really just sharing that story of you're not the only one who's maybe feeling some of these negative emotions towards what you're doing, who's struggling with kind of the negative emotions that you're being faced with from your customers, and having to scrabble with the amount of legislation that we have. And then we try and have a bit of fun as well. So we do quizzes in the office, we have little competitions, we organise events for the team, and all of that just helps to kind of support the team coming together and supporting each other. Because at the end of the day, that's what you need. If you have a really bad phone call where you've got someone just ranting and telling you that you're doing the worst job in the world, you need the team around you to be able to support you after that, to be able to vent to be able to just kind of sense check that is everything. Did I say what I needed to say there? Was I okay? And what we're really doing quite a bit of work on at the moment within our company is valuing your self-worth. When you've got your customers kind of saying you're too expensive and we're not paying any more management fee, really being able to stand up for saying, well, actually, this is what I do for you. And so there is a cost to that. And we've done the qualifications, we're professionals. Doesn't help that we're not regulated at the moment. And so I really want to see that regulation come through. But really pushing the professional side of it, that we have the knowledge, experience, qualifications to deliver this service to you.
Yeah. What drew you to wanting to be on the Wellbeing Working Group for TPI?
That's really been a passion of mine. I had quite a bad burnout in 2014, I think. It got to a point that I just couldn't cope anymore. I felt that there was nowhere else that I could go. I was kind of in the position that I thought that property management was so niche, there was no other companies anywhere near me that did it. When I started looking, there was quite a few.
Yeah.
But from that's what pushed me into speaking to people in the industry and getting out there, getting more involved with TPI, with things like Doyenne. And then it kind of dawned on me that we're doing a lot of technical support to everybody, telling everybody how to do things, what to do. But the customer service side of it, really needs us to look after our well-being, because you can't deliver good customer service if you're not able to smile, because a smile carries down the phone very easily and can make what is a difficult conversation a little bit easier to have if you can have it with empathy and come from a good place. But to be able to do that, we need to be in a good place ourselves. And so it was being part of the board of IRPM, really identifying that we need to be looking at the industry's mental health, what's going on with it, getting this, and we've had the surveys which have come out, which have been really interesting to see what's come out of it. There is quite a negative picture sometimes painted by those surveys, because it is obviously looking in and asking difficult questions and getting results from it that perhaps we would like to not be seeing, but we are seeing it.
So that's the annual Wellbeing survey you're talking about?
Yeah. I think the results just come in for the 4th year's survey now. It's painting a little bit of a better picture, but what it's really saying is that we're not alone in not being fixed. But what we are seeing, and what we included this year, is asking people what they love about their job. And that's been really nice to see. Ultimately, we are still in this industry. We choose to stay as property managers because there's something that drives us. And what's really coming out is that what drives us is the variety that we get within our jobs. It's the team that we get to work with, and it's those residents that you are able to have those really deep and meaningful connections with, who appreciate what you do. That's a really good driver for people enjoying this sector, but also to share stories. And that's what the Wellbeing Working Group have been doing through the monthly updates that go out from the property industry. For the last year, really, we've been including personal stories in there. So encouraging property managers, people within our industry, to share their own stories of potential struggles that they've had, issues that they're working through, their positive stories as well, just so that we can really hammer home that message of you're not alone if you're struggling. Everybody else has these issues, these thoughts, these anxieties, so please don't feel alone. That there are strategies that you can employ to cope and to get better and to feel enthused and positive about property management.
Well, that's brilliant. I mean, are you able to share any of the work that you do with the Wellbeing Group? I know you've just shared about the survey and everything, but how often do you meet? You know, is there like a strategy that you've got for well-being of block managers? Is there something that you can share there?
So the group gets together at least monthly, formally as a group, to kind of have an update. We then get together in between those times to work on any projects that we're going forward with. The biggest project that we're working on at the moment is TPI are looking at the standards that property managers who are professional corporate members of TPI sign up to, and they're revising those. And the Wellbeing Working Group have been pushing to put in a wellbeing standard, so that companies who are members of TPI sign up to a wellbeing standard to say that they will look after the wellbeing of their staff. That's going to be voluntary to start with, but it's coming in, and we're really pleased with that. There's been a lot of work done. It's not intended to be hugely prescriptive, but it is giving companies the tools to be able to just consider the well-being of their employees and make sure that that's provided for. Like I say, we've then been doing the articles. We've been pushing for more content within the seminars and conferences to do with well-being, to allow you to actually deliver the services that we tell you how to deliver, and to cope with what comes back from having those difficult conversations and saying to people, oh, we need to do a building safety case and it's going to cost you £150,000. Those sorts of conversations, actually, how do you resolve those within yourself and go forward? So yeah, and there's huge aspirations for where we can still go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really nerve-wracking situation, isn't it, when you know that you've got to go and deliver that information, as you say, about the building safety, or, you know, it's going to cost each leaseholder silly amounts of money. For me, anyway, I know that I've had to deliver difficult conversations, and, you know, probably a week before that, I know I've got to do it. And as much as I prep and I know that I'm professional, I know my stuff, I can deliver it. But inside me, I'm thinking, if this was me, that this information was being delivered to, how would I feel? And trying to implement that side of it as well, that, you know, I completely understand what this is going to feel like. And, you know, not everybody's just got that sort of money just to pull out of their pocket. Like when you send out the letters and everything, trying to be like, give them options. Can we find a way of being more supportive and that sort of thing? So I think what you said there about signing up to you know, a wellbeing standard is going to be really influential across the industry.
I believe that the outward perception of property managers is that we are all uncaring, unfeeling individuals who are just out to take people's money and make money ourselves. And that couldn't be further from the truth. If we wanted to do that, there's other industries that we can really actually do that in. I think the people that I have come into contact with in property management are really caring, are really empathetic. They want to do a really good job, and they really don't like asking for significant amounts of money or really any kind of increase in a budget from a leaseholder, because they know the pressures that those leaseholders are under, because they're under them themselves as an individual who has a home to keep, who has a flat with their own service charge to pay. So we all have the same issues, but I think the outward perception is that property managers don't. And it's so difficult to get that care and that empathy across whilst you're asking for significant amounts, which is your job to do under the terms of the lease the leaseholder has and the management agreement that we're signed up with. It's a very difficult balance. And exactly like you say, the stress of having to write that letter, not knowing what the response is going to be. That's sometimes the fear that keeps us of, this is going to get a negative response, so I'm not going to send it. It is not really the most beneficial for us, but it's being able to resolve that fear. And then when you actually send it, you might not get the response that you're expecting. You might get a much better response.
I've been doing this 18 years now, and I think probably the first couple of years doing this job was get as much information into that document as you can. But if you can provide, as you say, the customer with as much information as you think, what questions are they likely to ask, and just trying to be really proactive with your approach, then it takes away a lot of those questions. If you just send out, a service charge demand and a bit of a half job letter, it's going to create that anxiety with your customers, isn't it? It's going to create that kickback and that anger and that frustration, so just try and get all of the information out, with as much information as you can, is what I'm trying to say. I'm babbling a bit, sorry.
I think that is key, though. It's the more open and transparent we can be, the more our customers are going to have trust in what we're saying. If we can be open and transparent around what is happening, why there are delays, why there are fees on top of it, all of these sorts of things, then at least we have given them the correct information. In this world where email is the norm now, we've forgotten about the telephone and we've forgotten about meetings in person. And I think just pick up the phone, have a conversation with them, because emails can be interpreted in a way that you don't intend them to be, in just the way someone's reading your words. If you speak to them, they can really hear what's being said, and you can clarify any misunderstandings there and then. And what might be 20 emails back and forth can be covered off in a 10-minute conversation. So really kind of encouraging people to have those conversations, make people understand that you're not an AI robot sending an email. You're a person who has thoughts, feelings, who has their own pressures, can really empathize with their situation, and then you tend to get a little bit more trust and perhaps a little better conversation off the back of it as well.
Something that I always try and encourage as well is, if you're talking about budgets or you're talking about something where you've got a lot of documents to look over, yes, send it by email. Always offer to say, if you want to go through this by telephone, or you want me to come around and see you. I mean, obviously some people don't live at their flat or whatever, but if doing this over a Zoom call or something like that is going to be easier for you, so we can talk about it, please do let us know. And as I said earlier, just offering those solutions, see if you can help in that way. In terms of your association with Doyenne, how did you get involved to start with, and how do you advocate for women in leasehold and promote gender equality across the industry?
So Doyenne is one of those things that it kind of crept up on me, because when it started, it was drink gets-togethers in London. Now, I live in Dorset, so London's not really on my doorstep. It's a 2-hour train journey up, truck across London on the tube to wherever we are. And these were kind of events that started at 6 o'clock, so it was a late evening and a long day. But I already knew Alice, Emma and Sam, who were the kind of founders of Doyenne. And so I thought, well, yeah, okay, I'll go along and see what it's all about. And it was really nice. It was lovely to just be in a group of like-minded women talking about the issues that we're all facing, and all being really supportive of each other. And it really felt non-judgmental. So after the first one, I I went back for the next one, and I took one of my female colleagues along with me, and she really enjoyed it as well. And she came back so positive about it. I was kind of like, okay, this isn't just me. Everybody's kind of, other people are getting the benefits from this as well. So as Doyenne grew, I then kind of got involved and said, yeah, I'm happy to be the ambassador for the South Coast. And I was well on my way to arranging my first event, which was going to be drinks and cocktails in the Sky Garden above the Hilton, in the Hilton Bournemouth. And then COVID hit. We were planned for drinks in kind of like the last week in March, and on the 23rd of March or something, they said no, lockdown. I was like, oh, okay, we're not doing drinks. And then it's taken a little bit of time to get back after COVID and people get used to mingling again. But the two conferences that Doyenne have had last year and this year, I went to both. I took colleagues to both, and both of them, again, really, really positive feedback from it. So lovely to just have a room full of 130 women, really positive about the sector, being able to support and share stories with each other, talk about things that we wouldn't really talk about at an annual seminar, talk about things that are specific to us as women in the sector, and really celebrate that as well. I love it, and I am now planning my event for this year, which is hoping to be probably around this time. So if any women are listening and the date hasn't gone by yet, please do join us in Bournemouth for some drinks.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I'll be there. You have to let me know the date.
Yes, I will
when it comes out. So how do you think the misconceptions or misunderstandings of our industry can be put to bed, if you like, and encourage more people to join us? Because, you know, yes, it is tricky at times, but as you say, it is a really rewarding career.
It's really the $1 million question, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing that we need to do more of is educating leaseholders, customers about what is actually the role of a property manager. I mean, I have had clients ask me before if I can arrange the bread or milk to be delivered on a Friday morning when the leaseholders are arriving down from London. I was like, that's not really our job, but if you want a concierge, we can arrange that for the building. And so many times you're having to have the conversation around, I'm sorry, that's not my role. That's not what we do. That's not under the terms of the lease. What we're allowed to get involved with, really. So a lot better education and communication to customers that is clear, because I think as an industry, again, we're very good at using a lot of words and putting a lot of words in a letter. I know that if I get a letter through the door and it's 5 pages long, heavy with text, I'm probably reading the first paragraph, the last paragraph, and then making my own assumptions about what's in the middle. So trying to be a bit more visual about that education and a bit more present with it, which I know that the property industry are making huge waves with getting government to understand what actually property management is. It's then the next step is taking that down to the end users and the customers to make sure that they're understanding of what we're giving. So, and then just looking at getting out to careers fairs and making people aware that this is an option for them, because I think that most people that I speak to, I've only ever had one person come for an interview who wanted a job in property management. Most people end up here because it looks kind of interesting, and they'll give it a go and they work their way up. And part of that is going to come through with additional qualifications that you can take, and the apprenticeships are really key to that you can come out of school with no qualifications. You can go into a level 3 apprenticeship in housing and property management. You can come away from that, if you do it with the right provider, with your ATPI qualification. You can then go on and do a level 4 apprenticeship, and you can come away with your MTPI qualification from that. And I think that's one of the proudest things that I've had from my time in property management. Is like, yes, I've done all the major works projects and made things look pretty and turned leaseholders around, but I've seen 3 people come into the industry with no qualifications. I've taken them through the apprenticeship scheme for their level 3s. They've qualified with distinctions. They've gone on to do their members exams, BMTPI, continue on to be senior property managers, and just seeing them grow within the industry is fantastic. And that's what I'm continuing to do with bringing more people in Burns Hamilton through the apprenticeships, so that they can have that journey. And the apprenticeships are lovely because they don't involve exams. A lot of people struggle with the pressure of an exam. The apprenticeships are very much coursework, and then you do a presentation based on a project that you've done. And it's just a nice way to demonstrate your knowledge rather than have to write it all down in a 1.5 hour process under quite a bit of pressure.
And get cramp in your hand. I remember doing mine, and it was just
they're all online now, so it's a bit easier. But...
I know, but yeah, it was a long time ago. I did mine in a cave, So a couple more questions before I let you go. Can you share a memorable success story or project that you've been involved in during your career?
The one that really stands out for me, it's a very small thing, but it really has sat with me for a long time. We were doing a major works project at a building in Bournemouth, and we were asking people to pay quite a significant amount of money towards it. It was £5,000, but where this building was situated, that was definitely significant for the leaseholders who were in that building. And one of the leaseholders phoned me up, and she was very upset, very emotional on the phone. And it was a 45-minute phone call. And within that, I think I spoke for about 5 minutes, because she was giving her story and all the problems that she was facing, what kind of issues she was having with the fact that we'd raised this demand to her. She told me that she had really kind of thought of ending her life because of this demand, which had a huge impact on me, because I never want to make anyone feel like that. But I took the time to listen to her, see what she had to say, and then I offered her some solutions of what she could do. And we spoke about her speaking to her mortgage company to see if they would be able to release the funds, because she was obliged to pay for them under the lease. Mm-hmm. The only other option would be to go through solicitors and all of those other charges. So I said, speak to your mortgage company, see if they will release the funds for you. If you need a supporting email or letter from me, I'm happy to do it. She went away feeling like she had a few more tools to combat this and to kind of take some positive action on it. And about 3 weeks later, we received the payment from her. Because we got the payment, I could understand that, right, she's managed to settle that. That's going to be a huge weight off her mind. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of stuck with me that taking the time to listen to someone and to give them some positive strategies that they can employ to do something about the situation that they're in can be really so powerful. I think it's really been inaugural in shaping how I approach things now.
In the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge thing, but it is a huge thing to that one person. And you should be incredibly proud of what you did for that person, in my opinion, anyway. So how do you see the future of property management evolving?
I mean, it's changed so much in the 17 years I've been in it. Like I said, we would never have dreamed of calling anyone a customer, and now that's second nature to us. I think that the changes that are being spoken about in government at the moment with the leasehold and freehold reform bill are interesting. We'll see where that takes us. I think that the development of AI is quite interesting as well, because I know that Adiuvo, the out of hours, they've employed AI to deal with some of their out of hours calls. I think that there's a thought in the industry of are we going to end up with AI chatbots who deal with a lot of people's problems? But I'm not concerned that AI is going to replace property managers, because at the end of the day, it is the human to human contact and interaction that makes this an enjoyable job, and it gives the service that really our customers are looking to receive, and that just, I don't think, can ever really be achieved by AI. The big boys are buying up smaller companies, but there's a lot of smaller independents really standing out on their own and really holding their own, mm-hmm. Exactly as our firms are. And I think that's really exciting as well, to just push that we can really have change as well. We don't have to rely on bigger companies and bigger resources.
And one last thing before you go, if you could change one thing about the property management industry, what would it be?
I really think it'd be the outward perception of us, to really get people to understand that we are people managing people. We want to do the best job that we can. We want to do the best to provide good homes for people, properties that we can be proud to say that we manage, and people who we can have really good connections and relationships with.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for your time. How can people find you if they want to connect?
They can always find me on LinkedIn, Emily Gray with an A, Gray. I'm all over LinkedIn. LinkedIn definitely the best one for me.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed the call as well. So
thank you.
All right, take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.